Okay, hi everyone. Today I'm just going to do a quick and easy review of the semi-automatic land cover classification plugin for QGIS. So the first thing that we're going to do is get the plugin. If you type in semi, it will be one of these first three things that comes up. Semi-automatic classification plugin, so install that. When you do that, it will create this SCP uh, ribbon up here, and you'll have the SCP doc window in the bottom left corner. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go into login data and then make credentials at each one of these websites so that you can acquire the Landsat data that we're going to use. The next thing, you're going to go over to search. So now we're going to get the Landsat products. So I'm just going to open a OpenStreetMap right here by clicking this OSM button. I'm going to go over, let's try some area with some water and vegetation. Yeah, this national forest area. Let's get some of the buffer zone in there too. Okay, so this is just a randomly selected place, so I'm not entirely sure how good the data quality is going to be for this location, but we'll find out. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is open this window again, plus press this little plus sign, and then we're going to right click and then left click to draw our bounding box, which doesn't really matter because it's going to get a huge tile anyway that we can crop if we need to. So I like setting this to 50 max cloud cover. We're going to use Sentinel-2, that's fine, and we're going to search. Okay, so I should have mentioned that I have my date range set already for November 1st to December 1st. You can pick whatever range you want, whatever you feel like. And actually, I'm not sure that I want to choose this date range if there's going to be snow, because snow will ruin our land cover. Alright, so there's a few good ones here. If you expand the window, you can see the cloud cover there. So I'm just going to click on the first one. Yeah, this looks good. I think we can work with that. There's not too much cloud cover there. What about this one that says it has 0? That's a little bit dark. Nah. Alright, so let's go with the first one. So what we need to do now is check this on the map. So we're going to display a preview, and the preview will show this low resolution raster. So it's not really even in our the area we were trying to go to. Oh yeah, we have some. Okay, great. So this is the one that I want to use. So we're going to go ahead and download that data. So we click on one, and then we go to download options. We're downloading Sentinel-2 data. Sorry, my battery is having some issues. I'll fix that really quick. I'm going to remove 1 and 11. I'm going to keep 10 there because we don't really need those for Sentinel-2. And then I'm going to click Run. So now you'll select an output folder. I've made this land cover folder just for this tutorial. And then the download will start. And you'll see the progress bar up on the top here. Okay, so now we have our Landsat data. So now we can pull out some of the Bandsets, and the way we do this is just go to our Bandset option on this window. It looks like we have a Bandset too. I'm going to remove that because I don't want it. And we press this little button up here, locate our bands or our Landsat rasters, and we'll open those. That should populate in this window right here. We can order them by type if we want, by pressing this button. And then we can turn on our RGB, pull out some of the bands. So I'm going to start with 432, and that will bring out some of the water, I think, or maybe that's agriculture. Yeah, I see some agricultural land here. So we can use that for some built up and agricultural area classification if we want to. You can also see some of the water pretty well. It's just darkened and dark blue. Or we can use, do they have it here? No. I think 732 is the vegetation bands. So let's see what that looks like. Come on. There we go. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So I'll leave it on 732 for this, and we'll just classify some of the vegetation and some of the agricultural areas. I'll say these like bluish places are the built up, and then water is, I think, black, kind of, sort of. Anyways, so the way this tool works is you create these polygons called ROIs, and that's how you train the data set. So we're going to press this create new training input and just make a little script called training, and then we're going to start classifying things. So the first one I want to do is I'll get different colors of vegetation. So this whole area here, I'll call that vegetation. So we'll say vegetation. This is going to be the macro class, vegetation, and this is going to be the micro class. So we'll just say forest, I guess. Okay, so what we're going to do is click this little polygon button up here on the ribbon, and we're going to do some left click polygon drawing. Right, so drawing some polygons. I probably shouldn't get these little divisions in here, but that's all right. This is just an example. And then you right click to complete the polygon. And then over here you click this Save Temporary ROI, and that will create your land class and populate this list here. So I'm not going to do a full, like, really in-depth tutorial. We'll just get a few of them because it's going to take a while, and then run the classifier to see what we get. Alright, so we have our forest class, and I want to change that to a forest green. So let's make that a little forest green. We'll make the micro and macro class same color. Then we're going to keep drawing. So we want to draw a polygon over here on the built up area. So all of this built up area, we're going to go ahead and classify that as built up. So built, that's not how you spell built, built up. And we'll say buildings or factory or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and capitalize that, and we're going to say this is macro class 2, and we're going to say that this is ID 2 as well. Okay, so now we have our built up class. We can turn that into, let's say, should we put it as brown? Do I want it as brown? Now let's do white. White's fine for built up area. Oh no, black. Yeah, black is good. So built up areas are going to be black. Not that it really matters, it's not super important. I'm going to click on this hand over here and scroll over to some areas where we can find a lot of agriculture. So these fields, they're just fields. They're not technically agriculture, but we're going to classify them like that. So let's draw a polygon over here. Polygon, just gonna get all of this area. And then I'm going to say this is agriculture. And I'll just call this farm. Okay. All right, and actually I'm going to delete that because I needed to change. Let's do that again. So I want this to be 3 and this also to be 3. So let's redraw that polygon. Get all of the agricultural pixels in there. All right. Okay, and we'll change this to orange. So orange will be our agriculture and field. And then I'm just going to find some water sources. So I think there was some rivers or something over here somewhere. There's some water over here, I guess. These are like retention ponds or something. Okay, well, whatever. Let's use that. So we're going to go back and draw our polygons. I want to get some of this like deep blue color in there as well. So we'll call this water. If you don't classify um, the vegetation with the hillshade and stuff in it, sometimes when you classify water, because it's typically darker bands, your hills will be classified as, well, the shaded part of the mountains will be classified as water. So it's just something you should be careful with. So we'll call this water, call this lake, but it'll realistically be all water. Okay, that's going to be 4, 4. All right, so now we have our water variable. Let's go ahead and give it a color, watery color. Okay, and if we want to check how well our classifier is working, we can do a quick preview. So we can click any of our areas. And then we can see what it's being classified as. So if we want to increase that predicted area, oops, I meant to click on this, the size, right? It's taking its time. Well, anyways, so you can turn this preview on and off and see how well it's classifying the area. So I had all of this red vegetation classified as vegetation, so it's doing that correctly. I had all of these white and developed areas classified as built up, so it's doing that correctly. This is all a water body, and it's doing that pretty well too. So you can see that even with this kind of haphazard sampling that I'm doing, like you can make it as precise or as imprecise as you want. But even with the haphazard sampling that I'm doing, it's pretty accurate. Let's drop one over here. Cool. See, all of this is more built up area though, so but it's classifying it as fields with some built up parts in it. And again, that's just because of my haphazard sampling, because this is just a kind of brief review. So the final thing that you're going to do is go to your plugin window, and then we're going to go to our not pre-processing, stop it, band processing, and we're going to go to classification. Usually you'll want to use maximum likelihood or random forest if you're doing a large amount of classes in classifications, but I'm just going to keep it on minimum distance right now because it's just it's going to run faster. And then we'll call this land cover. Cool. So the classifier is done, and now this big tile is fully classified with the ROIs that I have fed into it. So of course, if you were doing this for real, you would want to ideally put in as many land cover classes as you could, like barren ground, actual agriculture, buildings, forest vegetation, grasslands, things like that. But you can see, like, with just the short amount of time that I put into this, it's already classified all of this area as the land classes that I put into it. If I want to check that against what it actually looks like, I can go like this, and you can see it's fairly accurate, right? Cool. All right, and that's it.